Hello, G. I'm Jack.
I'm Chet.
We are here in Santa Maria, Pangasinan.
Welcome to the Big House Place.
Tara, pasok tayo.
It started back in 2013 when we just moved back to Kuwait, and we lived in a small apartment. So there were times that we wanted to host parties and stuff like that, but we couldn't. So we said if one day we're gonna build our own house, it's gonna be something that's big and modern.
We didn't have the U shape in mind at that time, but we knew we wanted something modern with clean lines.
We used to like watching Grand Designs Australia, UK, and then some other YouTube channels. And then I think few months or a year before the build, that's when we discovered OG as well, through him. What we came up with is the house is basically divided in three major sections. We call it the left wing, right wing, and the grand hall. We call that the grand hall because that's where we have the kitchen, the dining, and the living area. The right wing actually belongs to our guests, and we have like a 4-bedroom. And then on the left wing is where our main suite. There's nothing there but us.
In the guest suite side, each room has its own climate control, but it's all tied in to the same HVAC system. It's not individual, so each room has their own HVAC. Each room has their own ensuite bathroom. Part of the guest wing side also is we have what's called a flex room. So it can entertain, but it can also serve as a theater. It's a little home theater type room, but it also, if you just want to hang out, another place to sit. And there's a common toilet that kind of merges you in from there, and it transitions you to the outside. The outdoor space now, we've got a few areas out there. So underneath canopies is what you'll see is what's called verandas for us, where we've got some furniture where you can kind of sit, some quiet space. What we would commonly be heard to as a dirty kitchen in the Philippines, I refer to it as an outdoor kitchen. It's pretty robust. You know, it's got a sink and cooktops and beer kegs. What separates the wings, obviously, is the pool. The pool is salt water. We create our own chlorine from it. It's pretty deep. It's not a traditional build. It's basically 6 feet when you step off from the shallow end. There's no transition. We did that intentionally because we always wanted anybody who came here with little children to be encouraged to teach them how to swim and not be paranoid in and around water. At the front of the pool, you'll see an area called the lanai. The lanai is really a transition point for us. It takes you from inside to outside. It's not climate controlled, but it's actually got some screen doors. So you can kind of sit in there in the morning or in the evening and feel the cool breeze.
The house shell is made of SRC. So in a layman's term, it's styrofoam.
Styrofoam reinforced concrete. So it's basically, you've got little pieces of rebarb and some styrofoam, and then you put concrete on both sides of it and it forms a wall. 10 times stronger than hollow block. So there's a PSI rating in hollow block, and SRC is actually 10 times stronger. Some of the other unique things about the house, we're totally off-grid. So there is 130 panels of 550 watts, which basically takes you to about 71 kilowatt of solar panel on the roof. There's a 3-phase air conditioning system that runs about 35 horsepower. In the mechanical room, when we harvest from the sun, we store it inside of lithium iron phosphate batteries. I've got high voltage batteries and low voltage. The house is 3-phase, which isn't common. Most residences are built single phase, it's 3-phase. Because we're off grid, it rains a lot here in the Philippines, so I had to get a 71 kVA generator supported by a 1,000-liter diesel tank for the days where the sun doesn't come out and we don't store enough batteries. So the other unique characteristic about the house is we're on a well, and the well is basically filtered through water filling station, and we've run the water filling stations to each tap. We produce our own water and we harvest our own sun. There is zero connection from any type of public utility here at the house, so we're on our own.
Yung property is 3,500. And then yung floor area, gross floor area ng house is around nasa 800 square meters.
Some of the challenges we faced before the build, realistically, since I'm a foreigner, anybody can sit there and tell you yes, 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 and they're nodding their head, but when they're giving you something on paper, it's not exactly what you wanted. So we knew whoever we finally decided to go with to build, at the core would have to understand me. Because obviously my wife can speak Tagalog to them and that gets translated, but then I'm just having to use her to go back to them to figure out what was said versus speaking, and then my thoughts came back to me properly. And this place was built by our architect, collaborating between my wishes, my wife's wishes, and what he could physically do based off his set of challenges, building in a rice field, having the right amount of people, a timeline. We gave him a crunch on the timeline. So there was some challenges before we even started to build, for sure.
Actually, wala akong masyadong naging problema sa kanila dahil sila yung tipong kliyente na pag nagbigay sila ng instruction, napaka-detailed nila. Actually, nagbigay pa sila sa akin ng mahabang list. So, ayaw nila ng ganito, ayaw nila ng ganito. Ang preference nila, talagang sinabi nila sa akin. Kaya very smooth yung sa mga stages ng design stage. Hindi ako masyadong na-challenge dahil sila din mismo yung nagsosolve ng problem like sa space planning, ganun. Alam kasi nila talaga yung gusto nilang mangyari. Ang naging trabaho ko lang talaga is in-interpret ko lang yung mga points or yung mga requirements na gusto nila.
Some of the advice I'd give you if you want to build something big, large scale, is take all the time you can to plan it. Because once you get into the execution, things start to kind of steamroll on you. So the longer you take, try and plan it out the best you can. That way, when the things do arise, they're usually not going to be as crazy or as a big an emergency. Because no build is perfect, especially when you start spreading property out and merging materials and having different ideas. And as far as the off-grid portion, it's not for everybody. If you want to truly be off-grid with a well, you're going to have to be involved with your house. You got to work with the house. Don't fight it.
Find a professional who listens, not just with the parang title na architect, engineer, whatever. Find someone who understands you and your goal or what you're trying to achieve with your project in general, not just the house.
My favorite part of the property is the outdoor space. We knew we were going to get dogs and they would need space to run. We got 2 Belgian Malinois and they're very active dogs and need a lot of room to run. I wanted a space to be able to grill. I wanted to be able to hang out in an outdoor kitchen. I wanted a place to pour my beer. Most nights I'll sit there in the gazebo,
Have a beer?
have a beer and just relax with my dogs and watch the sunset go down. The gazebo wasn't even part of the initial design of the house.
So my favorite part of the house is always the grand hall, because that's where the fun is. Basically, was where I get to bake, get to cook, get to host, you know, everything at the same time. And secondly, our bathroom. I've always wanted a bathroom that's just clean and tidy, and definitely with a lot of space for both of us, being a man and a woman.
Gusto ko talagang area dito is yung Grand Hall. Kasi very unique siya. Ibig sabihin kasi sa typical house, meron kang living area, meron kang dining area, meron kang kitchen. Minsan may partition pa yan, so nagmumukha siyang masikip. Kaya namin sinawag na Grand Hall kasi isang buong space siya, enclosed, open planning lang ginawa namin. Kumbaga, very simple lang yung design. Tapos nandun lahat ng mga feature walls na ginawa namin na nilagay namin sa sa proposal sa client. So sa materials, actually, nakapag-influence sa akin na ito gamitin natin is yung client. Sabi niya, gusto ko medyo industrial look, natural look na concrete. Isa yun sa mga feature walls na ginamit namin. Tapos yung mga WPC, fluted panel, tapos simpleng paint lang. Okay na yun. Mix and match namin yung brown para medyo earthy yung color. Tapos merong gold naman na stucco finish. Tapos white para ma-blend silang tatlo. During planning stage, kasi ang client nasa abroad, parang 4 na buwan kaming nag-i-schematics, design development. Kasi meron kaming schematic phase, meron kaming design development phase, and then meron kaming construction phase. So lahat yon ginawa namin na nasa abroad sila, nandito lang ako. So ang ginagawa, Zoom meeting.
I wanted to promote good people like our architect. We're not first-time homeowners, but this is our first build, like for us. Normally, you just buy and then you live in it, right? Obviously, seryoso yung i-invest mo, whether it's the money, whether it's the possible heartache or headache. And that all didn't matter because we found the right guy. And because he's good to us, I just want to share it to people na, you know, when you're good, everything's gonna come back to you in 1,000 folds. I'm crying. Why you said me cry? Everything will come back to you kasi pag sincere ka, people will feel that. And I think that reflected sa entire house namin. Like up to now, he comes and visits us at least once a month. When you're good, it'll be out there effortlessly. People will just talk about you. And that's what I wanted people to know, or wanted to basically expose, na we found a good architect and now we're living our dream, dream home.
When you build a home, it's really personal, right? And it's a business to him, but he takes his business personal. So anybody who takes his business personal, why wouldn't you want to be around somebody like that?
We just want people to know that there might be a lot of bad experiences, but I sure do hope na makahanap din sila ng matino at mabait na contractor or anyone na magbe-build for them to take care of their investment, basically.
Want to share your house and get featured? Email us at stories.onlygood@gmail.com and tell us about your interesting home story. For more videos like this, subscribe to OG and be part of the community.